But Konkana, again, I feel that you do still have a boundary there as well as Konkana, where you know that, okay, this is, Swati is a very immoral, like, there's no moral boundary to her, but you are okay because you know that this is not the ideal world that we live in. This is a new world altogether. But say, for example, I will bring the context of say a narrative, for example, like an animal. You know, you don't want to be part of a project like that. Are you understanding?
Keep asking me.
No. I don't want to bring animal, but I'm just saying that the narrative, like, you know that you don't want to be a part of a film like that because it really, the portrayal of a woman is not in the right way. But you're okay playing a character like this. Are you understanding what
I've understood what you're saying. And it's an interesting question. You know, I think that the thing is that I have not watched Animal yet, and actually I'm quite curious to. I don't think I'll watch it in the theatre, but perhaps I'll give it a shot at home because, you know, that is not the film that I'm naturally drawn towards, which is fine. I'm not its target audience, and it has enough love from enough people. But I haven't watched Animal. I don't per se have a problem. See, I don't think that films need to depict how we should live. It's not a playbook. It's not a how do we live life. Films are not a manifesto. It's, you know, they're not supposed to be propaganda films. For me, films are like an exploration of life. It is a creative expression, you know. So it needn't be like that. I don't personally have a problem with violence or gore, or whatever it is being depicted on screen. If there is a good reason, if it is done very imaginatively or very well or to a great end, or that the filmmaker is not condoning necessarily the violence, or whatever, you have to find a reason, you know.
As long as you know why, the purpose behind it, you'd be okay being a part of it.
I don't know. I'd have to read the script and understand for myself why this is being done and if I'm okay with it or not. In this particular case, I don't think, because of the humor, I don't think you're meant to take very seriously the moral problems of the story. And it could even perhaps for some people work as a metaphor. You know, so one can see the struggle of this woman. And, you know, sometimes I say we are going on talking about Swati's immorality. If you see pre-existing, like in terms of, like, it starts off like Swati is going down this downward spiral or whatever you'd like to call it. But her husband and her brother-in-law are already existing criminals. But nobody is questioning their illegal drug business. Nobody is questioning their adultery. Nobody is questioning their fraud, because these are very normalized. And I wonder why.
Blatant misogyny. I mean,
misogyny, disrespect. She's been slapped. She's been slapped a few times. Please question that first and alongside question Swati. Please don't only question Swati.
No, I absolutely get
I couldn't have said it better myself.
Thank you. You've written it, so it's fine. You don't have to. You've already said it very well.
I asked actually Manoj the same thing, that where do you set, because, you know, Umesh and Prabhakar as characters are so, like, again, eccentric, but you need to know to what extent.
And Swati herself says this in the 8th episode, wo thodi Mahatma Gandhi.
Or nahi hai. Bilkul bhi nahi hai. But again, a very similar thing, a common thread between all your projects has been that you have never succumbed to the screen image of a female character in any of your projects, right? Be it a Son Chiraiya, I feel that Bhumi's character was one of the best characters for me. You know, because I felt that there was so much strength in that character, irrespective. Udta Punjab, like, I have vivid memories of just watching and being so, like, amazed by the way, there is vulnerability for sure, but that's not the only trait to that character. There are so many different aspects which a lot of times filmmakers don't explore. I think you have always explored that. And Swati is an extension of the number of characters that you have written, right? I want to know, from your reaction, I feel it comes very subconsciously. I mean, it's just naturally it comes to you. But because you have a team of writers who also sort of, like, you work with, how do you, every time you're writing or building a female character from the scratch, what is your process like?
I mean, you know, this has been said before about, you know, the female characters in the movies that I made, but I do not do anything special. You know, it's my job to, when I'm writing a character, regardless of their gender, they have to be well-written characters. Obviously, gender plays a role in the sense because, you know, there is a sort of, you know, there is a place for men and women in the society, and they look differently and they have different histories. So that all context comes into play. But I don't specifically go out saying that I have this agenda or I have this thing that women characters should be strong all the time, you know. It just so happens in the stories, I mean, you know, when you try to flesh out a character, it turns out this way, you know. I think the problem stems from because normally, generally speaking, this is a general statement, that women characters are not thought through in our cinema, you know.
It is not.
Because they are not thought through because everything is seen from the lens of the hero. Because maybe it's because most of the filmmakers are men, but I think it's also got to do with revenue, because money comes in from male stars. So it's got to do with that more than anything else. There are few filmmakers of my generation and my ilk who don't think differently. And now even women stars are making money at the box office. So now is the time to create strong women characters.
But I do want to add to that, and I think it's because, you know, I don't think that Abhishek, you know, I feel like because there is no inherent misogyny, so it comes across. You know what I mean? And also that I think he views, you know, men and women first as human beings.
That's
You know?
important.
So that's what comes through.
No, but
Who doesn't? I don't understand.
No, but I'll tell you why. Because I feel that, and it goes the same for any other, you know, for example, we are on the other side and where we watch and we sort of review. And sometimes when we are trying to, because we will always look at it from a lens where, of course, as human beings first, and of course the gender does play a role at a certain point, because that is how it affects a human being, right? And sometimes when you call out something because you feel that, oh, this was done from a very misogynist point of view, and then they are suddenly, "Arey, tum woke logo ke jaise dekh rahe ho."
I think a lot.
And I'm just like, but being
People
a
are not just
female,
not
you
conscious
will.
about it.
Yeah.
People are not conscious about it also.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, you tell them and they will like, what misogyny? They will be like that.
True.
They are not conscious about it. I mean, you can blame them, but you can't even blame them because that's just the way the world is.
I mean, they're saying woke, they're saying woke. There are worse names to be called. I'd rather be called woke than a misogynist.
That's so true.
Choose your labels.
Yeah, absolutely.